Hello everyone, how are you all? Today we are here to discuss the ocean currents. In the previous lecture, what we discussed was the factors responsible for the movement of ocean currents, in which we saw that the temperature, salinity, shape of coastline, prevailing winds and the Coriolis force are considered as the possible factors which are responsible for the movement. And as we know that the ocean currents are helpful in regulating the temperature on earth, and in the previous year question also they have asked about the factors responsible for movement of ocean currents and their effect on shipping and fishing industry. So here today we will discuss that section only. So given the world map, and I am going to draw first the equator. So you can say this is our equator, 0 degree, and from here we will see the currents. And about the oceans, there are 5 oceans as we all know: Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic and Antarctic, which is considered as Southern Ocean also, out of which Arctic and Antarctic are frozen, southern, so we are not going to see that, and Indian Ocean only the southern part, because in northern part India is present. So mainly the full oceans are Atlantic and Pacific. We will start with the currents of Atlantic Ocean. So moving on to the currents, first the Northern Atlantic, and the red color will mark the warm ocean currents and the blue will mark the cold ocean currents. So the first one is the North Equatorial Current, and when it moves from the coast of French Guiana and Caen, the capital of French Guiana, it is considered as Caen current. After that, it enters into Gulf of Mexico near the coast of Florida, and it is considered as Florida current, and from Gulf of Mexico it comes out, and in the influence of westerlies it moves out by the name Gulf Stream, which is considered as, you can say, the fastest current also and the warmest. Then after, in the influence of westerly, the Gulf Stream is drifted in the northwestern part of the Europe, which is termed as North Atlantic Drift, number 5. Now mind it, the currents which are having the suffix of drift will always be originated due to the influence of winds, or simply you can say westerlies. So North Atlantic Drift will reach to the northern part of Europe by the name Norwegian current over the coast of Norway. Now the effect of ocean currents on shipping industry. As we see that Europe is located in temperate latitude, and especially the northwestern and the northern Europe nearby the Arctic Circle, means during winter season when the temperature will go down, the sea or the coast will freeze. But this does not happen. Why? As because the warm North Atlantic Drift and Norwegian current, they make the chilled water milder in nature, and due to them only the northwestern and the northern ports, or you can say the coast of Europe, are open throughout the year, or you can say during winter season also, which make them accessible to the other world, or simply we can say which help Europe to communicate with the other nations of the world, as because Europe is having only the western, northwestern and the northern coast. Now moving on to the northern part, the another current comes down from the eastern coast of Greenland as, you can say, the East Greenland current or Irminger current. Number 7, East Greenland or Irminger current, and from the western part through Labrador Sea, the West Greenland current or the Labrador current. Now let's see their effect on shipping and fishing industry both. Due to the cold Labrador current, first thing, the northeastern coast of Canada is frozen throughout the year, or simply you can say during winter season. Why? Because they make the water chilled and they get freeze down. And the another effect, as you can see, number 4 means Gulf Stream and number 8 Labrador are meeting on the eastern coast of Canada. And due to the meeting of cold and the warm currents, dense sea fog are generated. And these dense sea fog are hazardous for the navigating ships. Means a bad effect on shipping industry. But a good effect is also there. Why? Because when the warm and cold water meets, they make the water mild and it's help in, you can say, birth of planktons, which make these regions as one of the world's richest fishing ground, like on the eastern coast of Canada near Newfoundland. Due to meeting of warm Gulf Stream and cold Labrador current, one of the world's richest fishing ground is formed, which is considered as Grand Banks. So, the area where cold and warm currents will meet, they will make the fishing grounds, mean helpful. Now moving on to the next. Due to Coriolis force, as I taught you earlier also, that the currents will move right of their path, and from the western coast, one currents come down as Canary current. And after reaching to tropics, that currents passes through the western coast of Africa as Guiana current. So in this way, the currents of North Atlantic completes and their effect on shipping and fishing industry. Now moving on to the southern part or southern Atlantic. South equatorial current, when reaches to the coast of Brazil, it comes down as Brazilian current, which is warm in nature. Now moving on to the southern part, as you know that westerlies are more strong and you can say unidirectional and simply flowing in one direction in the southern latitudes or the latitudes beyond 40 degrees south, which are considered as roaring 40s, 50s, furious 50s and screaming 60s. Another set of currents are generated which are termed as west wind drift in the whole southern ocean, or you can say the southern part of respective ocean. Now when this west wind drift reaches to the southern coast of South America, they bifurcates due to coastline, as we talked earlier also that coastline helps in determining the, you can say, govern the movement of currents. It bifurcates in two sections, one on the eastern part and one on the western part. We are not concerned with the western one as because it is the part of Pacific Ocean. We will discuss it later on. But the eastern one is considered as Falkland current as it passes through the Falkland Island. And when it meets on the, you can say, lower part or the southeastern coast of Brazil or Uruguay, again the fishing ground is formed. Now then after the west wind drift is also known as South Atlantic Ocean current, and after hitting the western coast of Africa, it becomes the Benguela current, which is cold in nature. So in this way, the currents of Atlantic Ocean completes. Now moving on to the currents of Pacific Ocean. So as we have divided Pacific Ocean in two parts, means the north equatorial current which will move from this side will come out from here, and after taking the coast of Japan, it will move like this, considered as Kuroshio current or Japan current. Now again its effect on shipping industry. Japan is located in temperate latitude, but due to warm Kuroshio or Japan current, the eastern coast of Japan is open during winter season also, and this Kuroshio will again come in the influence of westerlies over here by becoming North Pacific drift or North Pacific current, and after reaching to the coast of Alaska and the western Canada, it will become Alaska current. Now again the effect, due to warm North Pacific drift and Alaska current, the western coast of Canada and southern coast of Alaska, instead of located nearby Arctic Circle or temperate region, they are open throughout the year. Means again they will help in shipping industry. Then after, From the western coast, one currents come down as California current, which is cold in nature, and from Bering Sea or Bering Strait, number 6, will come down as Bering current or Oyasio current, and as it passes through Kuril Trench or Kuril Island, it is also considered as Kuril current, which is cold in nature. Now see its effect. As the Kuril current is moving to the western coast of Japan, now the western coast of Japan will get freeze down during winter season. It will be open during summer, but it will freeze down during winter. Means the western coast is frozen due to cold current during winter, and the eastern coast is open during winter due to warm current. Means a good effect also and bad effect also. And another good effect, due to meeting of cold Oyasio and warm Kurosio, the Japan Sea and China Sea turns into again one of the richest fishing ground in world. Then after, one more current comes down from the Sea of Okhotsk as Okhotsk current, number 7. So these are the currents of northern Pacific. Now moving on to the southern Pacific, the south equatorial current will come down from the eastern coast of Australia as East Australian current, and it will mix up with the west wind drift as number 10 or South Pacific current, and move from the western coast of South America, or you can say Peru, as Peru current or Humboldt current, which is one of the most important current for understanding the El Nino event, La Nina event, or the ENSO phenomena. Again, due to meeting of number 11 Humboldt and number 8 South Equatorial, the Peru coast turns into fishing ground. So these are the currents of Pacific Ocean. Now moving on to the Indian Ocean. South equatorial current will come down from Mozambique Channel or Mozambique, so considered as Mozambique current or Angola current, and it will mix up with west wind drift as South Indian Ocean current and move from the western coast of Australia as West Australian current. So these are the currents of Indian Ocean, and as you saw that the effects on shipping and fishing industry both. Now I am showing you one more effect, that is, and the important question which is asked in exams, all the hot deserts which are located in tropics, if we see them, Mojave Desert or Sonoran Desert, California, Atacama on the western coast, Namib Desert or Kalahari Desert, African Desert, Great Victoria and Great Sandy. So the question comes, why all the hot deserts in tropic are located on the western margin of continents? So as because of the presence of cold currents on the western margin, as you can see, and the offshore trade winds. So in this way UPSC used to ask you the questions, and simply the most important part, by the time you are not knowing their conceptual part or their factual, you are not going to answer that. So I suggest you that when the question comes in geography, read the questions very carefully so that you can answer them wisely and get the number. So meeting you in the next class or next video with another important topic related to geography. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day.